here's how to Predator 212 swap a Bolens. Here's how to Predator 212 swap a Bolens 1050. So we got our new 212 motor down there from Harbor Freight. And we got the old Wisconsin 10 horsepower motor out. So I marked a 1/4 inch in front of these holes for the back motor mount bolts from the Wisconsin. And I got a 4-inch thick, a 4-inch wide, 1/4 inch plate. I'm gonna lay that there and then drill it from the bottom through the through this 1/4 inch plate. And then I'm gonna set the motor on it. And the right front bolt hole that's already in the base of the motor down there on this side. That front hole there is going to line up with this factory motor mount hole that's under this plate once we drill through it. And I'll set the motor on there, bolt this corner down, keep it square with the plate, and then mark your other holes. The other ones are going to line up here. You nut and bolt it here. And then I'm just going to weld the bolt here, and then put a nut down from the top on it. And it lines straight up with the factory drive shaft and clutch. And you gotta take off the idler for the front PTO. You won't be able to use the front PTO if you mount it this way. And you gotta swap out the air cleaner and the exhaust. Both hit the hood, so you gotta get aftermarket ones. I just marked a 1/4 inch in front of those factory holes. Set the 4-inch wide plate on there. And this 4-inch wide plate will then be level with this factory cross member in here, so you can check it. And I just drill up from the bottom with an angle drill through here, nut and bolt this side, and then set the motor on it, nut and bolt this side, and then mark this hole from the factory hole in the Predator motor. And then these 2 holes will be right about here with the factory holes in the Predator motor. Then pull the motor back off, drill these holes. Alright, got the holes drilled in the plate, and then I just took the front PTO off, so now I have more ground clearance. Was bolted right up there to the axle housing, and went back there to the clutch, because we can't use it anymore with this Predator setup. I had to grind down the end of my for the front PTO. It's normally an idler pulley on there, but like I said, we can't use that, so it doesn't matter anyways. But I had to grind it to clear the plate. There's a little gap there, and this lines up pretty good. Now I'm going to set the motor on there and mark the holes for the bolt the engine down. I had the holes drilled in the plate, ran a bolt through there, and then this bolt lines up with the motor mount, with the block of the motor. So that bolt goes right through the frame, through the steel plate, and then right out the motor. And then you just gotta mark that back hole there, and then mark the 2 holes on this side, and then drill them and nut and bolt those. But I'm putting the base of the motor at the factory rad height of the Wisconsin. So the Wisconsin had 3/16 spacers. So I got a 1/4 inch spacer in here already. So now I'm gonna just do another 1/2 inch of space, and it'll be 3/16 rise on it. And this steel plate, this is just the size I had laying around, but you only need like a 10 inch to a foot wide plate to go from these bolt holes. 10-inch plate would work. To mark these holes out, see, I just got some yellow paint in there. Just use this little pipe as like a straw, held it there, and then spray the paint in the end of it to get it in that. Because you can't like really fit a marker in there because all the shit's in the way. Got the motor bolted in there. Gotta figure out, I got a little bit longer bolt for that one. I gotta figure out what I want to do here. I don't really want to drill a hole in the frame. I might just weld a bolt here and have it stick through, and then put a little adjustment nut there to hold it up. I'm gonna loosen up the dash a little bit here, slide it back. It's hitting the little oil cap there. It's close to the exhaust, but you just push it pops in a little bit when you put the battery tray back in. It'll stay out of the way. I'll have to make some exhaust for it. Got this side bolted in all the way. I want to get a little bit longer bolt. This one's too long, this one's too short. I'll see if I can get some different size bolts tomorrow. This bolt runs through the plate, through the frame. And this bolt runs through the plate, through the frame, through the motor, holding everything together. Well, it's sitting in there pretty good. This plate lines up good. I got the right size bolts now. Now the plate and the engine are fully bolted in. Now I'm just waiting for the pulleys. So now I'm mounting the seat. Got a piece of square tube I mounted here. It already had holes in it lined up. And I just got this old seat from a Buick. And I'm just taking this angle iron, making it 15.5 wide, bolting it down, setting it on here, welding it to this piece, and then the back I'm just gonna bolt off the little factory tool tray here with a piece of angle iron up to the back seat bolt, and then just run another piece of angle across, weld it down. And I'm waiting for the pulleys for the motor, so put a puller on the steering wheel. It's all bent, trying to get that to free up. Get some oil in there, let it sit there with some pressure on it. Probably heat it up tomorrow. Started to get a seat mounted from a 97 Buick with Sabre. Got a pretty nice bracket I made. I'm gonna weld there where I grind it once I make sure it's where I want it. But I just bolted a piece of angle iron to the seat, bolted this tube that actually had the right size holes in it to bolt right to the frame. I'll just weld it right there. That's where I like it. In the back, I just bolted off the factory holes in this little toolbox. Ran some more angle iron. Same thing on this side. Piece of angle iron, and then I'm just gonna, once I line it up where I want it, just run a weld. And then I'll round these corners off. I had to space this up a little bit because I took the factory seat spring out. It was 1/8 inch thick, so I put an 1/8 inch of washers in there. I have the 5-inch pulley on there, just sitting there yet. I gotta bolt it down yet. And it lines up pretty good with everything. But the factory tensioner that mounts in this hole, a little bit too big. So I'm gonna try to get one size of this washer, about a 2-inch pulley. Then it won't hit the other pulley when it goes to tension it with just a factory Bolens belt. And then I started making the exhaust system. I gotta get some more of this pipe tomorrow. Just made a flange with some 1/4 inch steel, and I'm just gonna weld that pipe to it. And I finally got the steering wheel off of here. This thing was so stuck and rested on here. I had to get a pulley puller on here. I had to drill a little hole so it would center it, the center of the puller, and then I had to heat it up, and that came flying off through a little bit of heat. I gotta see if I got another wheel laying around in the backyard. Alright, I finished up the exhaust. Made a flange out of some 1/4 inch steel and just welded on one of those black pipe, 1/2 inch. My angle bends, my corners on here. Just ran a pipe straight out the front. And I got the belt hooked up. I got a temporary little tensioner there made out of washers so I could find a good one. And I'm gonna put new belts on it later. And we're just gonna try to see if it works now. I filled it up with oil. Got my seat on there. It's welded down in the back, tack welded in the front. I gotta throw 2 more welds on it quick. And I still gotta get a steering wheel. I think I have one laying somewhere. And the hood still closes. Didn't have to cut any sheet metal. It's a little close over here with the exhaust, but I can pull the dash back a little bit. It's close to the oil pickup too, but it'll buff out. I'm waiting for the aftermarket air cleaner for it, but I'm gonna cut the exhaust down. It sticks out pretty far. On this side, there's plenty of room on this side. The engine's all the way under there. Alright, here's the first startup of the Predator Swap 1050. test drive. Third gear. It's slow. Yeah, it's my only one with a really good brake. It locks up and slides. Finished up the exhaust and the cold air intake. All clears the hood. Bolted up a little flange to a pipe. And cold air intake, got a rubber boot and a piece of PVC to run the air cleaner up there to keep it out of the mud. Added on another little breather there for the oil vent line, the crankcase vent.